I want to quote something to you from Chuck Palahniuk, who wrote the movie Fight Club and the novel Lullaby. He wrote, "Old George Orwell got it backwards. Big Brother isn't watching, he's singing and dancing. He's pulling rabbits out of a hat. Big Brother is busy holding your attention every moment you're awake. He's making sure that you're always distracted. He's making sure that you're fully absorbed. He's making sure your imagination withers until it's as useful as your appendix. He's making sure your attention is always filled, and this is worse than being watched. With the world always filling you, no one has to worry about what's in your mind. With everyone's imagination atrophied, no one will be a threat to the world." The psychological effects of constantly subjecting yourself to propaganda generated by agenda-driven media and propagated by social media. The psychological impact on an individual cannot be overstated or ignored. Through all this exposure, the individual undergoes profound mental, emotional, and psychological changes that ultimately diminishes personal activity. Jacques Ellul wrote back in 1962, quote, "Propaganda furnishes objectives, organizes the traits of an individual into a system, and then freezes them into a mold by standardizing current ideas, hardening the prevailing stereotypes, and furnishing thought patterns in all areas." End quote. And the systems to propagandize have never been more powerful, more persuasive, or more pervasive. Not just perpetuated by the forces of Big Brother or big media, but by all those people you follow, scroll through, or swipe on social media. And if you wonder if this works, just ask the Russians. The result on our individual lives, you ask? The individual has become traumatized by the overwhelming force of propaganda. It intensifies entrenched prejudices and beliefs until eventually the individual has no control over his or her own thoughts, his or her own ideas, and his or her own impulses. Propaganda seeks to push the individual into the mass until your will fades entirely into that of the herd. Individuality is sacrificed for the greater cause by uniting and blending you with others. Critical and personal judgment are subdued and replaced with ready-made attitudes and opinions served up by Fox News or CNN or clickbait purveyors, then get perpetuated and entrenched further on social media channels. Then discernment is made nearly impossible for the individual, whose ability to judge has been overwhelmed and destroyed and can no longer exercise their own judgment, making them further dependent upon propaganda's ready-made opinions from then on. The individual no longer expresses themselves. The artificial opinion created by propaganda is absorbed by the individual, and then he or she becomes filled with its conviction. They now only express the views of his or her group without even applying individual reasoning. The individual has been properly suppressed psychologically. He will now live under the conditions those puppeteering place on him. And if the puppet masters themselves ever find themselves in trouble, they simply serve more cake. One of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, wrote hundreds of years ago, quote, "The man who reads nothing at all is better educated than the man who reads nothing but newspapers." Interpreted to modern day, quote, "The man or woman who reads, watches, scrolls, swipes, clicks, or listens to nothing is better educated than the man or woman who reads nothing but news and social media." And unfortunately, that is most of our population today. But now, it doesn't have to be you. Not a Darren Daily member. Do not allow yourself to get sucked in, even if all those around you are. I ask you to be the exception. As Ayn Rand would say, in the name of the best within you, do not sacrifice this world to those who are at its worst. In the name of the values that keep you alive, do not let your vision of people be distorted by the ugly, the cowardly, the mindless, in those who have never achieved integrity. Do not lose your knowledge that our proper estate is an upright posture, an uncompromising mind, and a step that travels unlimited roads. Do not let your fire go out. Spark by irreplaceable spark in the hopeless swamps of the approximate, the not quite, the not yet, the not at all. Do not let the hero in your soul perish in the lonely frustration for the life that you deserve but have never been able to reach. Check your road and the nature of your battle. The world you desire can be won. It exists. It's real. It's yours. When I was in real estate, I learned that there are 3 essentials to picking profitable real estate: location, location, location. In business, to create extraordinary wealth, those 3 essentials are timing, timing, and timing. A new technology is about to wipe the monopoly board clean. It is said more new wealth will be created in the next 10 years than has been amassed in the last 100 years combined. Let me show you the future before your competition sees it. I'm hosting a private address on the future of business. You can click below for free access.